dramatic coastal arrest, June 2024. The rugged coastline of Suffolk was the setting for a high-stakes drama that played out beneath the summer sun. Two drug smugglers, a British national and a Turkish accomplice, attempted a daring sea-based cocaine import that would soon unravel in a tense police chase. Undercover officers and border force teams had been monitoring suspicious maritime activity along the East Anglian coast. Intelligence pointed to a planned shipment of narcotics arriving by boat, and all eyes were set on the water. When a small, fast boat was spotted near the shore, loaded with illegal cargo, authorities moved in swiftly. As police vessels closed in, the smugglers made a desperate decision. In a bid to escape capture, both men abandoned the boat, plunging into the cold waters of the North Sea. But their plan to swim to safety was far from successful. Both suffered injuries, from the icy waves, rough terrain, and possibly gunshot wounds, and were quickly apprehended by officers waiting in the shallows. The seized haul was staggering: 350 kilograms of cocaine, worth approximately 39 million pounds on the streets. This was no small-time operation. It was a major attempt to flood the UK market with dangerous narcotics. The arrest of these two men sent a clear message. The UK's coastal waters are under constant surveillance, and those attempting to smuggle drugs via sea routes will be met with swift and decisive action. Their dramatic capture marked the beginning of a lengthy investigation and a landmark prosecution that would highlight the ongoing struggle to protect British shores from the scourge of drug trafficking. The smuggling attempt. The scheme was bold and meticulously planned. The two men intended to smuggle 350 kilograms of cocaine into the UK, a shipment valued at an estimated 39 million pounds. Such a quantity would have significant impact on local drug markets, flooding streets with high-purity narcotics and fueling addiction and crime. The vessel they used was a small, fast-moving boat designed for stealth and speed. These types of boats are favored by smugglers because they can quickly navigate coastal waters, evade radar, and avoid detection by authorities. The journey began far offshore, where the cocaine was loaded discreetly. The smugglers aimed to deliver their cargo close to the Suffolk coastline, where the drugs could be offloaded and moved inland by accomplices. This method of sea-based smuggling has become increasingly common as traffickers seek alternatives to air and land routes, which are more heavily monitored. The vast coastline and numerous secluded coves offer ample opportunity for covert operations. However, the risk is high. Weather conditions, surveillance, and rapid response by border force patrols make every trip a dangerous gamble. The smugglers' attempt was ambitious, but ultimately flawed. Their movements were tracked by sophisticated intelligence networks, leading to their interception and the dramatic arrest on Suffolk shores. The chase and arrest. On that June day in 2024, border force patrols and police vessels were already positioned along the Suffolk coast, prepared for the imminent arrival of the illicit shipment. Surveillance teams had been tracking the suspects' movements for days, piecing together a network of communication and monitoring their maritime route. When the smugglers' boat appeared near the shoreline, the chase began. The small vessel, moving swiftly and erratically, attempted to evade the pursuing law enforcement boats. The narrow coves and rocky outcrops of the Suffolk coast provided potential escape routes, but the officers were determined. The chase was intense and dangerous. Waves crashed against the hulls and the salty spray blurred vision, but the authorities kept their focus. The smugglers, realizing their options were running out, made the desperate decision to abandon ship. In a dramatic and perilous move, the two men dove into the chilly waters, attempting to swim to safety. But the cold sea, combined with rough conditions and injuries sustained, likely from gunfire or collisions, quickly overwhelmed them. Border force and police officers reached the water's edge and pulled the men from the sea. Both were injured but alive, immediately taken into custody. The boat was seized, and a thorough search revealed the hidden 350 kilograms of cocaine. This marked the end of the smugglers' attempt and the beginning of a significant law enforcement victory. The investigation. After the dramatic arrest on the Suffolk coast, law enforcement agencies swiftly launched a comprehensive investigation into the smuggling operation. The National Crime Agency, NCA, led the efforts, working closely with border force, local police, and international partners. The seized 350 kilograms of cocaine became a critical piece of evidence. Forensic teams analyzed the drugs to determine their purity, origin, and packaging methods. This information helped map the trafficking routes and identify suppliers. Investigators also examined the abandoned boat, searching for clues such as GPS devices, communication equipment, or hidden compartments that could reveal more about the smuggling network. Interviews with the two arrested men provided further insights. Both men maintained a degree of silence initially, but with mounting evidence and skilled interrogation, authorities uncovered links to wider criminal organizations operating both in the UK and abroad. The investigation extended beyond Suffolk, targeting warehouses, safe houses, and contacts believed to facilitate the distribution of the cocaine inland. Data from intercepted communications and surveillance operations revealed the sophistication of the network, encrypted messages, layered hierarchies, and careful money laundering schemes. This case highlighted the complexity of maritime drug trafficking and underscored the importance of interagency collaboration in dismantling such operations. The trial and sentencing. The two men, a 57-year-old British national and his 40-year-old Turkish accomplice, were formally charged with importing Class A drugs and remanded into custody. The sheer scale of the seizure ensured that the case would be handled at the highest level, with the Crown Court overseeing proceedings. During the trial, prosecutors presented overwhelming evidence. The 350 kilograms of cocaine seized from the boat, surveillance footage from the chase, intercepted communications, and forensic analysis linking the men directly to the smuggling operation. The court heard how the defendants had coordinated their movements with precision, making use of encrypted messages and satellite navigation to approach the Suffolk coast under cover of night. Their decision to dive into the sea was framed not as desperation, but as a final attempt to outrun justice. The defense attempted to argue that the men were couriers, acting under pressure or coercion from higher-ranking figures. But the court was unconvinced. The operation was too sophisticated, the roles too central. In July 2024, the British national was sentenced to 17 years in prison, while his Turkish counterpart received 15 years. The judge described their actions as calculated, dangerous, and motivated by greed, adding that the amount of cocaine involved had the potential to cause immeasurable harm across communities in the UK. The sentencing was widely reported and hailed by the NCA as a strong warning to those who think the sea is a safe route for drug trafficking. But the investigation did not stop there. Authorities continued to pursue connections revealed during the trial, determined to uncover and dismantle the broader network behind the operation. Wider implications. The Suffolk coast operation highlighted a growing threat: the resurgence of maritime drug smuggling into the United Kingdom. As land and air borders become increasingly scrutinized, organized crime groups are turning back to the sea, exploiting hundreds of miles of unguarded coastline and small harbors to import massive quantities of narcotics. The seizure of 350 kilograms of cocaine, valued at nearly £39 million, was not an isolated case. It fit into a broader trend observed by law enforcement across Europe: increased use of small, agile vessels, GPS coordination, and international cooperation between traffickers. This case exposed key vulnerabilities. The smugglers launched their operation far offshore, likely transferring the cargo from a larger vessel before heading inland on a low-profile craft. Their strategy relied on speed, stealth, and a rapid beach landing, a tactic that would have succeeded had authorities not been watching. For law enforcement, the successful interception validated months of intelligence work and proved the effectiveness of real-time coastal surveillance. But it also raised alarm bells. Officials from the National Crime Agency stated that UK coastlines must now be treated as active front lines in the war against drug trafficking. More investment in drone patrols, satellite tracking, and interagency coordination is being called for, not just at major ports, but along rural and under-monitored stretches of coastline. The case also reinforced the connection between international supply chains and local crime. Drugs that arrive by sea don't remain at the coast. They're moved quickly through inland distribution networks, often reaching gang-controlled markets within hours or days. By stopping this shipment, law enforcement didn't just prevent 39 million pounds worth of cocaine from reaching the streets. They disrupted profits, protection rackets, and the flow of violence tied to the drug trade across multiple UK cities. Conclusion. The events off the Suffolk coast in June 2024 served as both a dramatic law enforcement success and a stark reminder. Britain's battle against drug trafficking is no longer confined to ports and airports. It is being fought at sea. The image of two smugglers diving from a boat, clutching to freedom in cold waters with 39 million pounds worth of cocaine behind them, underscores the desperation and audacity of modern trafficking operations. These are not low-level criminals acting alone. They are part of highly organized, well-financed, and internationally connected syndicates. For the National Crime Agency and Border Force, this case reaffirmed the need for persistent vigilance. The UK's extensive coastline presents unique challenges: hidden inlets, remote beaches, and thousands of miles of potential drop-off points. Every stretch of shore can become a doorway for drugs, firearms, and human exploitation. But the success in Suffolk also proved that coordinated intelligence, surveillance, and rapid response can shut those doors decisively. The 17 and 15-year sentences handed down in court were not just punishments, they were warnings that those who gamble with Britain's borders will be met with the full force of the law. Still, law enforcement officials know one thing for certain: the next boat is already being loaded, somewhere beyond the horizon, and the war at sea continues.